Hello, my name is Lewis and welcome to day 24 of Decktober. Today we're looking at a $35 budget Adeline Resplendent Cathar deck tech. Adeline's power is equal to the number of creatures you control, and when you attack, for each opponent create a 1/1 human token that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. This deck is all about going as wide as possible, having tons of cards to protect Adeline and beef up your army so you can slay your way to victory. Now, let's get straight into the budget deck tech. As always, we're starting off the budget brew hot with the ramp. And first here, we have Gold Mirror to tap for a plains, a Knight of the White Orchid, that when it ETBs, if an opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for a plains, putting it onto the battlefield. There's Core Cartographer that also searches your plains when it ETBs, this time at entering tapped. And Heraldic Banner that ETBs and you choose a colour, with creatures of that chosen colour getting +1/+0 and also allowing you to tap for a mana of the chosen colour. We have Arcane Signet for a bit more ramp, and Marble Diamond that enters tapped but allows you to tap for a plains. There's Mind Stone to add a colourless or sacrifice for a card draw option, and finally we have Soul Ring, because Soul Ring. Before we get onto our army of tokens, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things MTG. It's completely free to do, and it helps our channel grow and grow as we head towards 2,000 subscribers. Now we're looking at all the ways we've added to this deck to get those tokens onto the field. First up is Visions of Glory to create a 1/1 human token for each creature you control with that flashback option. If you've already got a big token army out, then this could be huge. An Increasing Devotion to create 5 1/1 human tokens, allowing you to create 10 with that flashback option. There's Hasda Marshal that whenever it and 2 other creatures attack, you create a 1/1 soldier token with lifelink, and Silverwing Squadron that when attacks you create a number of 2/2 knight creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have, with Silverwing's power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. The reason we're having dozens of token creators is we want to boost Adeline's power with every single token that's hitting the field. The more tokens, the stronger Adeline gets. There's Trin, Champion of Freedom, that on your end step you create a 1/1 human soldier if you attack this turn, and Hanweir Militia Captain that if you have 4 or more creatures transforms into Westvale Cult Leader that creates you a 1/1 human cleric token on your end step, with again its power and toughness being equal to the number of creatures you control. We've got Emiria Angel to create your 1/1 flying bird whenever a land hits your side of the field, and Reverent Hoplite that ETBs creating you X 1/1 human tokens where X is your devotion to white. There's Entrapment Maneuver to make target player sacrifice an attacking creature. You create X 1/1 tokens where X is that creature's toughness, and White Sun Zenith to create you X 2/2 cat creature tokens, then shuffling White Sun Zenith into your library. Having an army of tokens is not only going to boost Adeline's power, but also make us go so wide that we can keep attacking with those tokens and chip away at our opponent's life total. There's Spectral Procession to put 3 flying 1/1 spirit tokens onto the field, and Shram's Expertise to put 3 1/1 servo tokens onto the battlefield, also allowing you to cast a card with mana value 3 or less from your hand for free. There is Raise the Alarm to create 2 1/1 soldier creature tokens, and a Ketra's Monument to create us a Vigilant 1/1 warrior token whenever you cast a creature spell, whilst also cheapening the cost of white spells by 1. Finally, we have Elspeth Sun's Nemesis to create 2 1/1 human soldier creature tokens. Now we've got our token army, let's play all those ways to beef up our board state so we can swing out. First up is Benalish Marshal to give other creatures you control +1/+1, and Gold Knight Commander, this is whenever another creature ETBs under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. There's potential Wincon in Mirror Entity with the option to pay X and give all creatures you control power base and toughness XX until end of turn, and Prava of the Steel Legion to give all of our non-token creatures +1/+4 on our turn, which is absolutely massive, with an option to also pay and create a 1/1 soldier token too. We've got Thalia's Lieutenant that ETBs, putting a +1/+1 counter on each other human you control, and whenever another human enters under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on Thalia's Lieutenant. And Dictate of Heliod, a flashy enchantment to give creatures you control +2/+2. We've added Glorious Anthem to give creatures you control +1/+1, and Honour the Pure to make white creatures you control get +1/+1. There's Intangible Virtue to give our non-token creatures +1/+1 and Vigilance, and Rally the Ranks to ETB, choose a creature type and give creatures of the chosen type +1/+1. Having these sort of cards with that big token army we have will really double down on the destruction that we can hit our opponents with and help us see out the game a lot quicker. Finally, we have Valor in Akros to give your creatures +1/+1 until end of turn every time a creature ETBs under your control. A perfect combo with some of those big token creators we saw earlier. Because we have a commander that revolves around having a big army, we need those ways to keep our board or commander in one piece. First up, we have Unbreakable Formation to give creatures you control indestructible until end of turn, with the Addendum mechanic to give all creatures a +1/+1 counter and vigilance if cast in a main phase. And Frontline Medic to give our creatures indestructible until end of turn whenever it and at least 2 other creatures attack, with this also being a good hold-up counterspell option, which is very rare in white. We've got Al-Said of Life's Bounty to sack and give target creature or enchantment protection from the colour of your choice until end of turn, and Fae Steed that when attacks gives another target attacking creature you control indestructible until end of turn, with it also being an added card draw option if some of your things get targeted. There's Riders of Gavany that gives human creatures you control protection from creatures of whatever type you choose, and Selfless Saviour to sack and give another target creature you control indestructible until end of turn. We've got Blacksmith's Skill to give target permanent hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, and Brave the Elements to choose a colour, giving creatures you control protection from that colour until end of turn. As we said, if we're chopping down our opponent's army with constant ways to make sure our board state is protected, this is the sort of go wide deck that could be very hard to deal with very quickly. There's Make a Stand to give your creatures +1/+0 and indestructible until end of turn, and Rootborn Defences to again make your creatures indestructible until end of turn and also populate one of your token creatures. For the last bit of protection, there is Sajiri Shelter to give target creature you control protection from the colour of your choice until end of turn. Before we finish up with the lands, we're looking at the best of the rest in this budget brew. First up, we have Moonsilver Key that is solely in there to search out potential win con in Strixhaven Stadium. With Strixhaven Stadium, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get a point counter, and if you have 10 or more point counters on them, you can remove them and then target player that was dealt damage loses the game. There's Hour of Reckoning for that perfectly fitting non-token board wipe, and Mass Calcify to destroy all non-white creatures. 2 potentially one-sided board wipes right there. We have Rebuff the Wicked to counter target spell that targets a permanent you control, and Mana Tithe to counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. We've got Mentor of the Meek to draw us a card whenever a creature with power 2 or less ETBs under our control, if we pay the 1, and Endless Atlas to tap 2 and draw a card. For even more card draw, there is Idol of Oblivion to tap and draw a card if we created a token this turn, and Secret Rendezvous to make you and target opponent draw 3 cards. We have White Removal Staples in Return to Dust to exile target artifact or enchantment, and Swords to Plowshares to exile target creature with its controller gaining life equal to its power. There's Generous Gift to destroy target permanent with its controller getting a 3/3 elephant, and Kabira Takedown to deal damage equal to number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. There's Oblation to have opponents shuffle a target non-land permanent into their library and draw 2 cards, and another classic in Sun Titan for that lovely mana value 3 or less recursion. We have Soul Warden to gain us life whenever any creature ETBs, and Daxos Blessed by the Sun to gain us life whenever another creature ETBs or dies under our control. Finally, we have Odric Master Tactician to allow us to assign blockers when it and at least 3 other creatures attack. That could be game changing. Finally, in the shortest of sections in this budget brew, we have all of the lands, starting and basically finishing on 34 basic planes and Myriad Landscape to tap, sack and get 2 basic planes onto the field tapped. We do also have the 2 DFC back card options from cards we've seen earlier too, if we are short on that mana. Adeline is a fantastic new commander option from Midnight Hunt, and one that will be super hard for your opponents to deal with the wider the board state grows and grows. Make sure to check into Decktober Day 25 tomorrow, where we'll be looking at another cool commander that's fairly new to the game. There we have it, that is the $35 Adeline budget deck tech. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things MTG. Check out our link tree in the description below for all of our social media and affiliate links, but for now though, I am all tapped out, so I'll see you in the next video.